Good first video, Tony. But I don't think that I can keep using Link here, so let's create a vessel. And bam! I present to y'all the new mascot of the channel, Tinny. Anyhow, I've got some work to do, eh? Newsy's relationship is just the best. Huh? Who's there? Oh, hi there, everyone. Where have I been? What do you mean? Oh, yeah. Well, I've been busy with med school. So many med terms. What do you mean with the walls? Yeah, so ever since October 29th, 2021, I've had brain rot. And with all the stuff I've had to jam into my brain, Newsy, has been one of the things keeping me sane through it all. So I'm gonna talk about it to vent out to my many subscribers. I need to give some background really quick though, because I bet not all of y'all know about it. And so here I am, to give unto thee enlightenment. Murder Drones is an indie animated show that's written by Liam Vickers and executively produced by both the funny Gmod Mario Man, SMG4, aka Luke Lerdwichigal, and his brother, Kevin Lerdwichigal. To quote the synopsis, Murder Drones is a show about cute little robots that murder each other for reasons. Skull emoji, cowboy emoji. Very descriptive, I know. As of the time of writing this, there are currently 6 episodes out now on the Glitch Productions YouTube channel. Just thought I'd shout out a smaller creator. All of which are amazing. I love this show so much, but I won't be talking about why it's so good. I'll wait for season 1 to fully come out before I do that. No, instead I'll just be talking about its various ships, and especially the token ship, NX Uzi. Now, before you click off, I have a disclaimer. I am not weird about ships. This is the first one I've ever felt this way about. Maybe it's because it's written so well. Maybe it's because it reminds me of my own relationship. Whatever the reason, I've only felt this giddy, invested, and loving about a show 5 times before. Those being Gravity Falls, Meta Runner, Breaking Bad, Better Call Saul, and most recently, The Amazing Digital Circus. Now, with all of that out of the way, here's Murder Drones' various ships, what Newsy, and by proxy Liam Vickers and his show, does right, how I personally feel about it all, and what we can derive from N and Uzi's everlasting desire. In episode 1, Pilot, we get introduced to our main cast, who live on an exoplanet named Copper 9. First, we have Uzi Dorman, resident angsty and rebellious teen with daddy issues, who creates our inciting incident by coaxing her dad into getting out of her races, the worker Joneses, bunker, to get a part for her
sick as hell railgun!
So not the vibe!
The reason for both the bunker and the railgun are 2 other main characters and one of our supporting characters. Serial designations N, V, and J, the Murder Drones. They were sent to befriend all of the worker drones by their parent company, JC Jensen, in space. N is a lovable little guy who
Sure, I love doing anything.
is just all around a fun time, is the perfect example of a golden retriever boyfriend, we'll get to that later, and has a very familiar uniform. V is N's love interest. A very one-sided one at that. I've been there, buddy. And we'll also get to this later. And is the chaotic, yet collected, drone of the group. Finally, we have J, the leader. And the first one to die. With our main cast established, let's get to the heart of this video. To preface really quickly, I'll only be going over canon ships. Not established relationships like Khan and Nori, Uzi's parents, and definitely not fanon/headcanon ships. Like, I don't even know any... Hold on. Anyhow, first we have our main gal Uzi teased to have interest in this boy in her class named Thad in episode 1. Roll the steamy clip.
What are you in for? Testosterone too hard?
That can happen? Awesome. Hey, those bandages look pretty badass.
Oh. Ew. Gross. I hate that you said that.
That's it. I really don't know why people ship Thad with the other drones so much for how little screen time he gets in the show. He does have a more prominent role in the second episode and makes the odd appearance here and there, but nothing that screams, "Ship me with everyone!" It's like Digital Circus shippers. The only two shown ships there are Kane X Moon and maybe Kinger X Queenie. All the others are just forced headcanons, just like Thuzy. I rate this ship, you're like a brother to me, out of 10. Next, we have N establishing in the first episode that he has a crush on V, but tells Uzi,
You can't tell her, okay?
while this ship seems to sink by the third, if not second, episode, and doesn't really develop beyond a crush, what crushes many are the implications brought upon by both episode 2, Heartbeat, and episode 5, Home. In the cold open of episode 2, we get a flashback sequence where we see that N, V, and J all used to be worker drones, acting as the butler and maids of the Elliott Manor back on Earth. In this flashback, we see N and V, I love the glasses by the way, bump into each other and have a burst of static between their fingers. Then J kicks N in the back of the head, and V looks concerned for the poor lad. Fast forward, backward, to episode 5's flashback, where we see N reading about golden retrievers to a comatose V, staying by her side no matter the eldritch horrors he so desperately tries to repress. We get near the end of the episode to see our final glimpse of this ship in which Eldritch Sin tries to lobotomize N. Seems like I just pulled a
7 nuclear missiles.
There, didn't I? Anyhow, Sin can't handle the scalpel correctly. Why the hell would you use a scalpel for a lobotomy? Much less on a robot. So she calls in the formerly comatose, now subservient, V to her aid. While she too can't pick up the scalpel initially, with the help of N giving her her, now broken, glasses, V's able to pick it up. However, V breaks from control and can't bring herself to hurt poor N, echoing his fact about golden retrievers back to him.
Golden retrievers have gentle mouths, dude.
Sin strangles V and picks up the right tools for the job.
Goodbye, buddy. Execute. What is happening?
Luckily, Sin loses control at just the right time to Hacker Woman's Uzi, and, past and present, N and V are saved. N and V hold each other close as the two snap out of it and come to in the present. All of this brings an interesting point in the present day, however. N doesn't seem to remember himself and V in a relationship. So does V remember this bygone flame? I believe so. Well, in episode 1, we get this exchange.
So, V, I heard this planet-wide toxic death storm is supposed to be especially inhospitable tonight.
Oh God, who are you?
No worries, I'm N, but a whole letter is a lot to remember.
I think that either V has truly forgotten everything that happened back on Earth, suppressed and has started to forget those memories to stave off the emotional pain, or, most likely, remembers but has come to resent N for forgetting her, thus begetting her relentless hostility towards him. Any interpretation works, but what's important is that, come episode 2, we learn that she knows more than she lets on. In episode 3, she pleads this to N.
I'm not freeing you for prom murder, V. Jay went hollow spooky snake crab, and we maybe grew up in a haunted mansion. Aren't you worried we have no idea what we even are?
Promise me you and that purple thing will stop prying into that stuff. If you free me now, I promise we'll only kill what we need to survive. Just you and me, Anne.
And especially after episode 5, remembers everything. Throughout the journey, she's shown hostility whenever someone brings up the past, generally coping by channeling said hostility towards bullying N and Uzi. She also demonstrates major envy whenever N and Uzi have a moment together, or even when Uzi is merely mentioned. Though, even through the pain, even through the memories, even through her envy, in episode 6, Dead End, having donned her glasses, symbolizing both her remembrance and acceptance, she still makes the ultimate sacrifice for N and Uzi. Her final words being,
Hey,
No, Dave, we need you!
nah. Uzi, I trust you.
V, please!
this is the first time V has ever said Uzi's name, showing her respect and belief in her. She also mimics N's key pose of an upright salute as the elevator falls and N cries out to V one final time. That's what makes this ship name so poetic. NXV. Envy. Yet, V is still selfless in spite of it. Did Liam Vickers intend this? Probably not. But as a great man once said,
I think in one of the earlier shows I mentioned, we don't make mistakes. We have happy accidents.
and this happy accident makes me very melancholic. I rate this ship,
I have crippling depression.
out of 10. Then we have Tessa's possible romantic love for N. It's a concerning one, to be sure. I only realized this after a 7th, maybe 8th, viewing of the series while on a trip to Buffalo, New York to see Niagara Falls this past Thanksgiving. First, in episode 2's cold open, We learn that Tessa rescued N from the dump, and that N wasn't her first time doing so, with J and V previous and Sin after. In episode 5, we also see how a younger Tessa reacted to seeing N. With pure, unbridled joy.
I'm right, Jay.
Hi, Tessa.
In the present day, episode 6, a now adult Tessa still holds high affection for N. Maybe a little too much affection. While it's played for a gag, both Tessa and V act slightly grossed out when they see N and Uzi holding hands, possibly showing their mutual jealousy.
Ew.
Don't date my robot, please.
He's his own person! Ew, you're mean.
As well as that, earlier in the episode, Tessa shows little to no regard for Uzi, despite seeing how much N cares about her. She's like V, but without the growth, and even more envious of the attention Uzi gets from N. Now, while yes, it can be argued that Tessa shows little concern for Uzi because she's barely met her and knows what Sin can manipulate her to do, Tessa's actions, to me, read as those of a controlling and jealous ex. I also believe that Tessa isn't telling N everything, and maybe holding back information to keep him on a leash, per se. To control him. Although, maybe Tessa isn't really Tessa. How did she survive Sin's massacre? How else would a human lose all that blood in that manner without passing out? Regardless of it all, while I may be yapping, and while it may not be a true ship, Tessa's feelings towards N, to me, feel one-sided, manipulative, and, like the ship name I made up, tense. I rate this ship a 2012 overly attached girlfriend out of 10. Up next, we've got what you've all been waiting for. Next Door! A wonderful dynamic, to be sure. After the death of his wife by the sting from the murder drone's nanite acid-filled tail, we'll get to this later, he went to the root of both his notoriety and surname, Doors. Just look at these two go.
Well, when you build doors so good, good door, good door.
I rate this ship a Minecraft door sounds out of 10. I kid. What you're really here for will get its very own section. Lastly, we have the pairing you've all been waiting for. Anne and Uzi! First, the issues, if you could even call them that, of this relationship. While there are only a few, they need to be addressed so I don't get comments saying, well, what about this? Yeah, I see y'all. Y'ain't slick. 1. In episode 2, it could be argued that N and Uzi share more of a sibling dynamic due to their interactions. But this quarrel is dissolved by the following prawn episode. 2. Due to the flashback sequences, when our trio of murder drones arrived on Copper 9, and the fact that Uzi has most likely lived in that bunker her whole life, it's looking more and more like N knows.
That's what the point of the mask is.
But this is ratified by N's amnesia, basically resetting his mental age, the constant references to the main/supporting cast being in their late teens, as confirmed by these missing posters in episode 3, and critically, this one line by N in episode 4, Cabin Fever.
Not afraid.
I am! Uzi is! She's a kid, like us, V! What is wrong with you?
3. In episode 1, we get a stark revelation by Khan that Nori, Uzi's mom,
To put your mother out of her misery when the murder Jones got to her with their nanite acid. I want you to have it.
Neat. Therapy's fun.
yeesh. Anyhow, given that there are only 3 potential suspects, and the fact that it'd make for a killer twist, N is the most likely murderer. That would really put the two's relationship to the test. However, this could be rectified by the image shown earlier. On November 15th, 2023, Glitch posted a teaser image for episodes 7 and 8 onto various platforms. In said image, we see silhouettes of 2 drones standing in front of a set of gilded doors. My initial reaction was, what are Doll and Uzi doing together? But upon further inspection, I realized that these 2 could be their moms, Eva and Nori. This could also be a part of a flashback sequence, of course, but who knows? Looks like we'll have to wait and see in 2024. Now, with all of that out of the way, it's time for the good stuff! In episode 3, The Promining, we start seeing the first signs of a blooming love. First, after the disturbing revelations of episode 2, we see a view of Uzi feeling how her life is incomplete without N's presence.
Yeah, eating bread in an hour. Can you imagine going to prom alone?
I'd be all like, I don't deserve happiness.
Due to her guilt and N's worry, the 2 bump into each other outside and, after reconciling with one another...
N?
Uzi? You look...
I think something bad.
I could help, but you probably don't want me.
No, I could use the help of you being there with me.
We see them as...
Dapper buddies.
Who then make their way to Prom 3071. Doll, however, scares everyone off, incapacitates V, and starts to attack N and Uzi. During this battle, we see Uzi acknowledge that she's not dealing with anything well, but she's done dealing with it all alone, while looking longingly at N. Then N sacrifices himself by getting shredded by Doll's attack instead of Uzi. With the help of Lizzie, N and V reconstruct themselves, at which point they're back in the fray. N and Uzi share a dance during the fight with Doll, where this banger plays in the background. Gotta love it. The pair try to save each other from any harm thrown their way, with loving looks exchanged throughout. Uzi is resistant to admit it, but she both appreciates and wants N to be by her side always. They, with the of V, defeat Doll. The trio then go to Doll's dorm to investigate, and suddenly get surprise attacked. She's alive again. Absolute solver chicanery. Just roll with it. Here, Doll, V, and the audience recognize that Uzi is showing her first major signs of the absolute solver string, with minor ones since all the way back in the pilot. N, however, stays by Uzi's side in spite of it. N here shows how, despite her trauma, he still loves and accepts Uzi, and sees her not for her issues, but for what she is. A girl dancing in the dark, longing to see the moon again. And while she doesn't recognize it at first, she's already found him. In episode 4, Cabin Fever, in an attempt to find more information about her mother's past, Uzi coaxes her class to take a field trip to a barren campsite named Camp 98.7. N and V act as camp counselors, and are popular, weirdly enough, which adds to Uzi's insecurities, as the literal embodiments of genocidal maniacs are more accepted and wanted than her. V takes on the mean girl trope, and N is especially popular with the class, instantly being the attraction of every girl there. Uzi, on the other hand, sneaks away and is instantly forgotten about by her peers. Uzi, trying to find out more about what Doll's deal is, goes to a cabin overlooking a frozen lake. We see her jealousy at seeing all of her classmates warming up to N, but we aren't the only ones. V surprises Uzi by confronting her for spying. Uzi tries to justify it by saying how she's so happy that N and V fit right in. But that's not the only reason. That's something the two have in common. Both Uzi and V envy seeing N give others attention and praise. And while this is merely in N's kind nature, it eats away at the both of them. Slowly. Whether they realize it or not. Which is why V is so adamant that
N's made friends with rocks, by the way. He'll move on just fine.
they're both vying for the same goal. Uzi returns to the main campsite to speak with N, but he reflectively calls out to her.
Uzi, get on out here! This troop's a team! Wait, no! Inclusive reflexes!
Hey!
One of her classmates accidentally fires an arrow at Uzi, and she stops it with her solver string, but accidentally creates an organic thing. V recognizes what the thing is, and everyone else is scared, with N, being the most scared out of them all, going to find Uzi.
V, we can't hurt Uzi!
We do our jobs, and that thing leaves us alone.
I don't know what you're talking about because you won't tell me! What are you so afraid of?
I'm not afraid.
I am! Uzi is! She's a kid, like us, V! What is wrong with you? Look after the campers.
Uzi, meanwhile, grows an organic, murder drone-like appearance, killing and gorging herself on any drones she sees. V, however, comes to the aid of the last worker standing and defends Lizzie from Uzi. Uzi snaps out of it for a moment, pleading to speak with N.
I'll make sure you can't.
She then nearly kills V, but is picked up by N, who throws her into the sky.
Ow! Up we go! What did I say about antagonizing her?
Ugh, you always take her side.
Uzi regains control, and N tries to talk with and comfort her with this confrontation.
Uzi, you want to tell me what's the matter?
No, don't look. house and eating people and stuff.
Yeah, we'll figure that part out. But you know that's not what I mean.
Are you, like, gonna leave me?
Uzi?
Never mind, stupid.
Before we met, scary stuff was actually pretty scary. And tonight, too, because you weren't with me to make it fun somehow. I kind of forgot what that was like.
Same.
Then we'll stick together.
Don't fucking touch it. Plus, my voice is more like...
Accent was a bad idea anyway. And I'm sorry.
Not like you killed anyone.
Oh, no, I definitely...
Kidding! Just avoid another whole spire. Baby steps. Together?
V grows more envious.
Ew. Don't patronize me.
What? I think it's gross all by myself. God, you're a diva lately.
But then warms up to the pairing. The episode caps off with the two holding hands, if only briefly. What's beautiful about this is that despite her insecurities, despite her actions, despite her state both mentally with her trauma and her absolute solver virus, and physically with her new fleshy form, N shows consistent, unconditional love for her. Just like a golden retriever. No matter what, he's there for Uzi, and he appreciates her impact on his life, and vice versa. V recognizes this, and while seeing the two cuddle up on the bus ride home hurts her, starts to accept the old adage, if you love it, let it go. In episode 5, Home, we more so see N and V's / Tessa's interactions as stated previously. But we do get to see more moments of Uzi showing, if slightly reluctantly, affection to Butler N in the forms of a hacked raven and, eventually, Solver Sin. However, during her Hacker Woman's arc, Doll barges into Uzi's room, wanting the elevator key bug back, and the two fight for it. However, Sin is trying to robo-lobotomize past and present N and V, causing Uzi to give up the fight in order to save N and, in tandem, V. This shows how, despite her desperately wanting to know more about her mother, Nori, and by proxy herself, she cares more about the bonds of the present than those of an unknown past. Instead of rushing into this relationship head-on, Liam Vickers decided to leave breadcrumbs in every episode to show a natural progression from complete strangers to lovebirds. And that is something I can truly appreciate. In episode 6, Dead End, while delving into the Cabin Fever labs to destroy what Sin wants, the team explores a bit, and Uzi's tail gnaws on N's head. How wholesome. They then come across the lobby full of mutilated murder drone corpses lining both the floors and walls. At this sight, all the drones are frightened, and Uzi tries to hold N's hand, but is interrupted by Tessa. Tessa gets yoinked and the trio go to save her, where they get hit with an EMP by two cannibalistic worker drones. The female one, named Alice, is readying to cut up V and Uzi and reveals that she has a history with witches, and mentions a O2 after seeing Uzi's, really her mom's, choke her. Apparently, Nori left her old team to die. Alice calls over Bo, the cannibal baby tasked with dissecting Tessa and N, and while he's distracted, the two escape. Tessa then tells N the dark truth behind where Uzi's powers are derived from, the Absolute Solver String. A parasitic, hive mind-esque program that slowly takes control of and assimilates anybody infected with it, nearly violates the second law of thermodynamics, and will vie for absolute power, all hosted within sin. Earth was destroyed by sin, and, by proxy, all humans on it. En understands that Nori was infected and passed it on to Uzi, pleading with Tessa to fix her. And so, Tessa brings a terrible ultimatum to En.
Then, Uzi, you can fix her, right? That's why you're here?
I'm here to find which drones were infected. When we get to the labs and find that list, I'll need you to choose the universe over one little drone, En, before she's not herself anymore.
Meanwhile, Uzi sees that the Sentinels are being unleashed to kill En and Tessa. One of the Sentinels boot loops and throws En against the wall while he bleeds out unconscious. Seeing this, especially with Alice and Bo watching hyper intently, causes Uzi to use all her willpower available to implode the control panel. However, Uzi loses control. The Sentinels kill Alice and then Bo, who helps V as his final act. V is backed up against a wall by the Sentinels, however, and, while all seems lost, Solver Uzi unconsciously implodes the Sentinels as well. The group meet up, and V tends to Uzi. V knows of Sin's influence on her, but not the damage or severity. Uzi comes to and immediately hugs En while he stares blankly, deeply concerned. Later, while the crew hides from a Sentinel, the two have this exchange. After noticing Doll's trap, Uzi tries to use her powers to circumvent it, but both En and V stop her, realizing the other somehow knows of Sin. Then, Newsy shippers win!
Don't date my robot, please.
He's his own person! Ew! You're mean!
Doll then unleashes the rest of the Sentinels upon the group. Uzi tries to use her powers to get into the fallen elevator, and then pleads with her to stop, while Tessa and V fight off the horde. Uzi's hand goes out of control, forcing En to... Tessa and En haul a collapsed Uzi onto the elevator, but V still fights the Red Sentinel. Her glasses, which were her protection against boot looping, are broken, forcing V to make a hard choice. And, as of course stated earlier, even through the harsh reality told to En, he still wants to live with and love Uzi. He so desperately wishes that the person he deemed a younger sister won't kill and assimilate the person who never ceases to give him constant happiness. Uzi, on the other hand, with the events of episode 4, fully confides in and loves En. Both En and Uzi want to protect each other, even at the cost of the hand En held so dearly moments before. That's what I love about this relationship. They both love each other wholeheartedly. The mere thought of being separated pains them. It's a healthy relationship, rarely seen in any other forms of media. Its progression, while a little bumpy at the start, is really well done, and the actions of these characters, despite being robots, feels truly human. Throughout this episode, Eternal Dream by AJ Desperito and sung by Elsie Lovelock, Uzi's VA, is played diegetically. The significance of this is unclear, yet understandable. The song symbolizes how Uzi wants this whole nightmare to end, and for N to pull her out of it. What a beautiful bond. Hopefully, that bond will stay strong come episodes 7 and 8 next year. Looks like we'll just have to wait and see. I rate this ship a 10 out of 10. In summation, N and Uzi's relationship in Murder Drones is a rare example of a healthy relationship where both characters are fleshed out and, while flawed as people, love each other for said flaws and quirks. Along with the positive messages one could pull from seeing these two's interactions, just seeing them alone is enough to brighten one's day. Uzi is neither forced nor rushed, and the flaws it does have are superseded by the many positives reaped from this pairing. This is a benchmark for relationships to strive for, not only in animation, but any other form of entertainment, and even out in the real world. I hope that I too can replicate the same charm when I create my story. Let's hope for the best for N and Uzi when Season 1 ends in 2024. And before we reach our final segment, here's a cheers, a wholehearted thank you, a Merry Christmas, and a Happy New Year to you, the viewer. Like, comment, subscribe, God bless, and I'll see you in the next one. Finally, a grand cheers to N and Uzi's relationship, the Eternal Dream.
This dream, will it ever end for me? I don't have the will to know. Can you help me see? Let my body keep you warm. Let my essence be your breeze. Can you hear me calling? Please look out for me. Can you set me free? Will you take my soul away? Casting me in cold, bury me in bones, rest eternally. Dancing in the dark till we fall apart. I can't end this dream.